will be the guys who are calling that defense for Greg Schiano. Made some noise in the portal, and then some key returnees, including two of them who we just spoke with in Jabome and Kaliak-Manis. Greg Schiano is with us right now. And, Coach, it was interesting because I was asking your players about, hey, you just had the most wins you've had as a Big Ten program, back-to-back winning seasons, and I kind of said, hey, give me a sense for the vibe around Rutgers football. I was expecting it to be glowingly positive, and it wasn't. I mean, it was very clear they were not in any way satisfied with what last year was. So I guess I'll put the same question to you. I mean, it feels like the arrow's pointing in the right direction, but assess the state of Rutgers football for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think the arrow is pointing in the right direction, but the reality is I didn't come out of retirement to go 7-6.
Yeah.
Right? Like I told the team that point blank when I came back is we're here to win championships, and until we do that, we're not doing our best. And I think our players feel that. They work incredibly hard. They're committed to what we're doing, but they also know the league we play in, and they know the competition. So it's a tall order, but one that our guys embrace.
One thing that really stood out last year was the offense did get dramatically better. I mean, it really was night and day different. How do you build on that this year?
Well, I think they got a little taste of what they're capable of doing, right? The last 6 games, we scored over 30 points all 6 and over 40 the last 2. So if you can continue to do that, and unfortunately we didn't play great defense last year, and a lot of reasons, the biggest one being a lot of our players were unable to play. But we got to get that fixed, and if we can continue to grow offensively and continue to be consistent in the kicking game, it gives us a chance every week.
Yeah, kind of to that, Coach, when I think of Greg Schiano or I think of Rutgers, I think the identity is going to be play great defense and run the football. And then you look at some of the changes, 2 new defensive coordinators replacing 8 starters, Kyle Monangai now in the NFL. How do you adjust, or do you adjust your identity with these new changes?
Well, I think on offense with the running back position, I think we have a really strong room. We've got a great running back coach in Damir Shaw, who I think really does something unique. In the running back room, there's only one football, right? And if you're not careful, there can be some selfishness there, and that doesn't happen. I think our offensive staff, led by Kirk Shiraka, and I said, Damir, they've done a great job. We have a great running back room. Now we got to figure out who's going to be that guy to replace Kyle. Defensively, I feel good. I think we have a lot of good young players. They got to go play now. And Coach Smith and Coach Sparber, they've done a great job implementing their system this spring. It's not a big change from what we've done, some little things, but I'm excited about watching this defense get better every day.
Your players talked earlier with Dave about culture, and it was a great question. You followed up, like, what does it look like? How do you feel it? Their answers were incredible, and I think watching you play, you guys have to win in the margins, and to me, that is reflective of culture. So how do you build upon what you referenced earlier, last year's success, to make sure you can take that step and compete for championships?
Well, I think what we do is we continue to educate. So every single Wednesday we do Football 101, where we're talking about not only, it's not about your position or the offense or the defense, but how you win football games. And for guys to understand the how, I think this generation especially, they want to know how and why, not just do it. And I think when you can teach them the how, then they start to appreciate it more, and I think there's a little more buy-in. But at the end of the day, you got to take care of the football. First and foremost, the ball is the program, and I think our guys understand that.
Kind of to that, Coach, you look at your portal strategy, a lot of guys that are coming from smaller schools, whether it's G5 or FCS. Was that intentional, and if so, what does that allow your culture to do?
Well, that's worked best for us. I'm not saying that's for everybody, but look, we go into the portal to get guys to really fill a need for that season. And when you do that, then you're bringing them in, you got to believe they can play right now and make plays. Well, as a player, right, guys who make plays, other guys follow. And if they're not a cultural fit, they're going to follow them to a bad place. So we got to make sure that not only we've walked away from some really good players in the portal because they're just not a cultural fit, and we're going to stick to that.
Love being up in your office last season because you could see the parking lot. Ethan Kaliak-Manis, he seems like a coach. Just hearing him on set a few moments earlier, when you're watching him walk out, I'm curious what's going through your mind now with your quarterbacks returning, especially the productivity the last few weeks of the season.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, and I can actually picture him because he bounces out of the building. Like, this guy is full of energy, right? But that is one of my favorite things. I can see the guys leave, and every once in a while I'll see a guy who's got little slumped shoulders, and I'll call him right then and just say, hey, man, you good? And then now they know, because now they look up at the window. Yeah.
Big brother is watching.
For a while, they didn't really understand. How does he know to call me right now? didn't take that long for them to figure it out.
One of the deciding factors in our conference is going to be these close games, one-score games. You talk about winning in the margins. Illinois 5-1 last year in those one-score games. 4 of your 6 losses, one-score games. What, in your eyes, what are the 2 or 3 key principles that ultimately allow you to flip that and succeed in those close games?
Well, you got to take care of the ball. That's always number one, right? But then you look at it, are you efficient with your penalties? I don't ever want to be, non-penalized. Then you're not playing hard enough. But are they playing penalties, or are they stupid penalties? Are they personal fouls? Are they pre-snap penalties? Those are what kill you. You can't have that stuff. That's in the margins, though. Do guys understand that? Do they understand the significance? Everybody wants to talk about third down. I get it. Third down's critical. But how do you get in good third down? First and second down has to be efficient. Teaching them where they understand how the building blocks of winning football, how they come, I think that's important.
Can I hop? Because last year you were one of the least penalized teams in college football, and you protected the ball as one of the best teams at protecting the football. Did you feel in those close games, those losses, that came loose a little bit, or how would you play off of that?
Yeah, that and execution.
Okay.
Right. I think one of our tenets is what is execution? Like, everybody has a different definition for execution. Ours is very simple, and I think our guys understand it, and that's the key. Know your job, chop your job, trust your training. And I think too many guys, they get in under pressure and they leave their training. Well, why do we practice? We practice so in the clutch, you don't have to think about it. You just do it. It's what you've been trained to do. So in those games, I think there were times. Now, the reasons why, because if you're not careful, you'll over-adjust, right? We had a lot of guys that were banged up on defense. So we have guys in there that are playing that maybe haven't had enough training, and they try to do something special because they're not really sure of themselves. So, again, you have to be careful. The pendulum goes too far the other way.
It's been fun to study and learn scheme within this league. But I think because of the margin being so small, there's also an element of, there's matchups like you had in the National Football League. I feel like looking at your receiving core, Ian Strong, KJ Duff at 6'6", DT Sheffield coming in as a transfer, it feels like you could win the matchups outside or in the slot now. Do you feel more confident than you have before winning matchups when you have to? Red zone moments turning 3 into 7?
100%. Yeah, I do. This is the best place we've been in receiver core in a long time. And again, when we came back, it may have been the worst thing, other than the offensive line. The offensive line was rough, but receiver room was probably second. And the job that Coach Brock and Coach Shiraka and our whole recruiting staff have done to turn that around and flip the script, so to speak, I think is really a tribute to them.
I want to ask you about your defense coordinator, Rob Smith. I think this your 3rd time together.
4th.
3rd at Rutgers, and you did 1 at Tampa.
Yeah.
What is it about him that's so special? Why are you so comfortable with him?
Well, look, he's one of us. He understands what we're about, believes in the same principles. He's a great person, but all that being said, football-wise, really understands what Rutgers football and Rutgers defense, what we want it to be, and the tenets that we believe lead to playing great defense.
It's talking about keeping it in the family, one of us. If we can mic you up before you play Minnesota and PJ Fleck, what is that going to be like between you two? Because I feel like on both staffs, it's just guys that come from your tree in a lot of regards.
There are a lot of crossovers, you're right. But PJ does a great job. I got so much respect for him, and I'm really proud of him, right? He's like a little brother of mine, and he does a great job with his program and their consistency. That's what I love watching. Year in and year out, they're a consistent program. So it'll be a tough trip, going out there, and they'll be ready to go now. I promise you that. He gets them ready.
That is the 2nd conference game for you guys. You open up with Iowa. I mean, I looked through your conference schedule, and if I could find one word to describe it, I think I might use difficult.
Yeah.
So how important is it going to be for you guys to get off to a good start?
Well, it's always important, right? But you're right. We have a very tough schedule. But playing in the Big Ten, that's what it is. If you didn't want that, don't join the league, right? So we're very excited about the opportunity we have. I look at it as just that, as an opportunity to go play great football and let the chips fall where they may.